You are listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, the best podcast you can find on this side of the multiverse. I am your host, Adrian, and today I have so much to talk about. I mean, we had such a crazy week, to be honest, at least for me. One, we had like the Switch stuff, right? So everybody who had a chance to go and pre-order the Switch online or however it worked here in America and Canada, man, it was horrendous. It was horrendous. It really was. It was only four sites as far as I saw. There was no Amazon, right? Because it was just through Nintendo's little link, and from midnight from 2 o'clock is when I did mine, and I tried to, you know, get one. I had a Target order that was, pending, and I had to do the help desk, and that did not work. It was awful. And then I was just waiting in the Walmart and the Best Buy, queues for forever, and just didn't get one, which was, pretty sad. I'll try to, check as I can periodically, but unfortunately, I have to get a new phone, so I'm just waiting for a new phone and all that to just come in, and that'd be a lot easier. Just to say, we had some releases for TV shows and movies, and some of this episode is gonna be talking a lot about that, which is pretty crazy. We don't usually have a focus on just TV shows and movies for a podcast episode, but there's only a few games here that I want to specifically talk about that I got a chance to play through this weekend. But we had a trailer for Andor season two, and I guess it came out, and people are saying it's really good. Apparently, it's like the most critically acclaimed live action Star Wars project ever. That's crazy. I really enjoyed season one, so I'm actually super intrigued. And I have Disney Plus, so it's gonna be super great to watch that. It's gonna be great. And Predator, the Predator stuff that was put out for Hulu, the new movie looks awesome. I guess it's gonna be more of a space-centered one. We're not gonna be on Earth, and that seems pretty awesome. Mostly Predator focused, like a young version of Predator. There's a whole bunch of other Predator fans like Max who are super, super into it, who know a whole bunch about it. But I think it's just cool to watch these. And we got like a new show for Predator. I think it's on Hulu, which is crazy. We're getting a lot of Predator stuff and Alien Day. We had Alien Day yesterday, 4/27. A new teaser for Alien Earth. I guess we're getting that in June. So it's going to be really awesome to see these stuff come out and watch them at some point. We also, pretty surprising, just some other gaming news. For Honor is still getting content. I just think that's really, really crazy that For Honor is still getting stuff for its game. It's getting like Prince of Persia now. I think I might have saw one earlier about some other like crossover for it. But I just think it's crazy that For Honor is still kicking. I would love to go back and play that game at some point. I have it on the Xbox One, but I don't have the Xbox One with me right now. But For Honor was really fun. It's just I didn't expect it to last this long, and maybe that's because I don't think anybody really expected it to last this long. But I think the crossovers and the DLC that it's gotten throughout the 10 plus years that it's been around, I think, is telling that the game's doing pretty well. And for Ubisoft, I guess that's awesome. That and Assassin's Creed being pretty popular is keeping that company afloat, but they're selling off half their property or something like that. We haven't really seen a whole bunch on the news, so we're gonna try and keep up on whatever that is. I don't really care for Ubisoft really anymore. It's not really a big deal, but For Honor is pretty fun. Outer Worlds, the Outer Worlds 2 got a combat overview video through IGN. They have a whole bunch of, I think more modern additives to the game. Like there's vaulting over like the debris or the cover, climbing, things like that. There's some other cool, really like additions to it. Like they talk about melee combat, things like that. I'm just really more keen on getting the chance to play it. And yeah, there's not a whole lot of, game announcements that I specifically here have to talk about. That's only really the updates that I have. I think until we have showcases, we're not really going to see a lot of game announcements. Now, surprisingly, the antithesis of the showcases would be just a shadow launch, right? And we just had that recently. A game shadow launched earlier this week. I think it was maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever Bethesda did their little live stream, and awesome, just so awesome that they put this out, and it's $60, and I think like $50 and maybe $60 with the deluxe edition. And listen, I don't mind Game Pass. I think Game Pass is one of the best things ever. and I am a user of Game Pass, so I subscribe to that immediately for like, I guess it's like 12.99 or whatever it is, and I am pretty happy about it because not only did I get the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster, right? Just one of those games is really awesome, but I even got the chance to play Expedition 33. So sick. So sick. I mean, I don't even know which one I'll talk about more is Expedition 33, but just to cover Oblivion Remaster, it's pretty good, right? I think that for the way that it has its monetization options, right? You could probably pay it full price, PSN, Steam, right? I don't know why you would pay full price on Steam if you could just even try it out just on Game Pass, like cheaper. I'm not so sure. Maybe modding is different based on Game Pass and Xbox specifically. I'm not really like even up to date with how that even works, but I don't really see a difference. So I say go the Game Pass route and get the Game Pass version and try it out, even if you aren't familiar with RPGs, and it's just so sick. Just to do that, I think Game Pass is a really good option for PC just in general, which is pretty great, and then just the Xbox systems, which I haven't used in a while, and I just wanted it on that PC, so now I'm going to use the Xbox for like I don't know 4 years. I would probably put this remaster up to the same degree as the Demon Souls remake just for that kind of degree. I don't think there's that much changes to the game. I think they just kind of modernize the UI and the experience, and then so this is obviously just a much polished more version of Oblivion than we had in 2009, which is crazy. And you know, I think that remaster is definitely the way to go. A remake to me, I feel like would have had the touches of what they want to maybe implement into into Elder Scrolls 6. That makes more sense to me. Remaster just feels like, oh, we're just gonna make this game, you know, more polished, run better, look more appealing, and then smooth out all the kinks, and then put it out right, which is awesome. I even saw that they put out free keys for the people that are working on the Sky Oblivion mod version of Skyrim, which is awesome. They gave out free key versions of remaster to them, which is sick. You don't see that every day, and I think that's pretty great. I think the remaster definitely adds some real value to the Game Pass. I think even the old Oblivion game is on there, but I think you had to run it through the 360 emulator nonsense that is already on the Microsoft systems, right? So I guess you can still play those either way if you already didn't own it. But I think the remaster just adds in like a much more polished version to it. It even makes the speech stuff more streamlined. The character creation stuff is more streamlined. Really think it's great. I really think that it's a decent remaster for the way that you can like get it as a consumer. I think that if it wasn't on Game Pass, I think that it would be actually really trash. I think that'd be really, really not a good subscription because like I feel like you can just get an Xbox for like really cheap. They're probably really cheap now. If you don't have the best PC, you can most probably run this game because it's just a remaster of a 2009 game. And this game still has loading screens, which I think is bullshit. This game still has loading screens. I call that bullshit. There's mods with like open, uh, like nonsense, right? Where you don't have to go through doors into the cities and stuff. There's mods with that shit. I've seen it. For this game, I made my monk character from Elder Scrolls that we're playing with my friends, the RPG tabletop game. It's been pretty awesome just running around this beautiful open world, and I do hope that it looks better in Elder Scrolls 6. Like I think Elder Scrolls 6 obviously just needs to look so good. I mean, we're talking about a game that's like heralded as the best game of all time, just by some people, right? I wouldn't guarantee that to that game. That's just not what I would put that as. But kudos to Bethesda. I think that shadow dropping it was the best way to go. I think that that's pretty great. We're not waiting for the game. Putting on Game Pass is like the best thing ever. I just wish that maybe they, bundled it with something like Fallout 3. There's like those Fallout 3 rumors, or even like a Morrowind, right? Like, why did they like remaster Morrowind and Oblivion? I don't know. It just kind of feels like we have this game, it's done. We're not waiting till June for the remaster. Let's just put it out now. Otherwise, it'll be like, oh, they waited like how it's just kind of really what it feels like is like it's just done. Let's just put it out. which is decent, right? I'm not really sure, but I feel like, kind of gypped that we got this game so fast, like really fast, compared to when Elder Scrolls 6 was announced. And then we haven't seen anything about that game. And uh, as a fan of the series, I don't really think of this as like a bad thing, but I just worry that Elder Scrolls 6 isn't really gonna be the kind of next evolution RPG that it was for Oblivion, and the way that Oblivion was for Morrowind in a way, but I don't really necessarily remember the differences there. I wasn't really around for when those games came out. But I think in terms of RPGs, Oblivion is like one of the pinnacle, and then Morrowind's kind of like the same thing because like it's open world, first person. Skyrim has like a different vibe to it, and I feel like there needs to be a lot of stuff into Skyrim to really justify making it into the next kind of RPG. And this is gonna be a really good transition because I think that the next game I talk about is the game that does this for the same genre, RPGs, right? Expedition 33 does so much for turn-based RPGs that it's one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Like it just is. I think this game is game of the year. This game is hardcore game of the year. I'm championing this game to be game of the year. I haven't even finished the game. I really enjoy the way that it plays. I really enjoy its world building, its characters, the options that it has just to play. You know, I'm not really gonna say that the story is bad. Like this, it's an RPG story. I think it's fun and entertaining, and it hooked me since the beginning. Like that initial intro is so awesome and sad. I'm in it till the end. Like I will not stop until I see end credits on this game, and I couldn't stop this weekend. I've just been watching JoJo while playing it in the background, and that's just been the weekend here and I'm enjoying it. This game is so sick. I have four party members. I have like this big giant mount thing. It's so cool. And you know me, guys. I want to get the podcast uploaded up there so I can start playing more Expedition, and I'm loving it. Being able to play it through Game Pass, like I didn't know this game was on Game Pass. I knew this game was put out, and I was like, I don't know if I saw the gameplay for it, but I think I was like a little turned off when it was initially announced. Maybe I'm remembering a different game or not. Some of these games do kind of blend in together, but this game was on Game Pass and I didn't even know about it. I was just listening to someone talk about it and it mentioned being on Game Pass. I was like, wait. This game is on Game Pass. I went onto my system and checked and I was like, install, installing. I was like, I'm hearing so much about this game that I had to try it out. And as soon as I did the intro and you get to the gameplay part where it was like, oh, you can not only dodge, right? You can use circle or B to dodge. You can use RB or I guess it was like R1 to parry. You also jump. There's a jump button in a turn-based game. We are playing the next evolution of RPGs because we haven't had features like this since like Mario and Luigi Superstars, right? The turn-based RPG games. And I just think for turn-based RPGs, this game and games like Metaphor Fantasio is so awesome. If anyone's a fan of like Metaphor, Persona, or any turn-based RPG, Expedition 33 is the game. I hope this game wins Game of the Year. I hope this game wins Game of the Year. I'm excited for Doom. I haven't even played Doom. I hope that game also might win Game of the Year, but because this game just came out of nowhere and I'm so invested in it. I really hope that it wins Game of the Year. Um, I'm playing on a Game Pass on my PC, runs really well, and I really like it. Yeah, that's really just it. Expedition 33 has been a really big surprise to start playing. And yeah, I know there's a lot of games that I gotta finish. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? Because my phone broke, that I don't have the manga app, so I can't read the manga. So I'm pretty behind on that. So I'll not be talking about manga this week, which I'm pretty sad about. So video games, until we get, I think Doom. Doom is probably the only guaranteed release that we'll be playing in May. I can't really be sure. Other than that, I'll probably be swapping between Expedition, Doom whenever it comes out, and Metal Gear. I really want to do the Metal Gear series before, I guess, Solid 3 comes out. And there was, I think, I must be forgetting another game that I want to play before at least the Metal Gear stuff. I think we want to do Ape Escape or something like that. And yeah, actually, because my phone broke, I couldn't do a emulator game that I downloaded for Pokemon. I think it's Fire Red or Pokemon Emerald. Mario Mon. I was trying to play Mario Mon, and then sadly the phone happened, and I'm gonna do my best to get back into Mario Mon. And if anyone doesn't know, this is a Mario uh like themed mod ROM thing for Pokemon Emerald, right? You just download it, move the file over. It's pretty awesome. I'll be talking about it much more when I get further into it. The Pokemon I started with was Bombom, and that's what I'm sticking with, the fire Pokemon. I'm so excited for it. It's been a while since I played the Pokemon ROM, and I'm just pretty dope to get back into it. So probably next week or something, we'll have a feature on that or something whenever I can get into it. But right now, the RPG that we're doing right now is Expedition 33, because what a game, and I wanna see it through. I have to. I do think it's time for us to talk about our sponsor, Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like other energy drinks. We also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby is an energy drink powder that is produced in FDA registered and inspected facilities in the United States. If you use the code Gamer Librarian, you can receive 10% off your order on things like drink powders, apparel, water bottles, stickers, and bags. That's if you use the coupon code down below at checkout. If it wasn't for Expedition 33 coming out, I probably would have finished this book, but we were doing Heretics of Dune. And it's at this point in the series where, I don't necessarily have anything particular that's pushing me forward into the story other than seeing a few things like what's the end of Leto's The Golden Path. I want to see what that was entitled for. Obviously, that's like the end of like Chapter House, right? The last book here. So maybe that's what we're gonna see. But there's one character that is really driving me to see their end, and I want to see them get some kind of, I'll say it, justice, because I think it's bullshit that the Atreides family let this happen to poor Duncan. Horrible, horrible that this man has his memories wiped and he doesn't know who he is. It's a recurring thing. This poor kid. And other than that, this character, Shiana, this new girl prophet, is pretty awesome. I like her dynamic where she's in a situation where everybody knows what she is. She can control the worms, talk to them, kinda, and they're afraid of her because they don't know what she can do. They think that like God sees through her and shit. I think that's pretty awesome. So it's not. I don't think that's really spoilerish. That's pretty much the premise of it. I feel like if you're not a fan of Duncan, then really you really like this book because it's kind of half Duncan. I don't know why you wouldn't like the Duncan stuff, but it's just a weird plot line. That's I think like one of the only really driving forces here. Because now it's just like, oh, we have just another prophet girl, and things are just back to being a sand planet. But I want to see what the end goal is, which is like Leto's second or golden plan, golden path. And yeah, that's really just where it is. Probably this week that'll be done, and then we'll be on to the last book, and we'll be done with the Dune series. And don't know if we'll be doing any of the side books, but it's been pretty dope to be doing the first few of those books for now. And yeah, sadly because there's no manga, side to the podcast, it's not going to be super long, but the TV shows that we've been getting into have been pretty good. Yesterday we did have the season 2 episode 3 of Last of Us, and things are working out, pretty much just as we saw. Pretty lengthy episode just to get to the decision that we're gonna go and follow her, so that's pretty dope. And we got some, I think, edited stuff. We don't really see a lot of things that happen at this point. I think Ellie just kind of leaves in the night or something like that in the game. She doesn't necessarily have help from what I remember. They had this part about this whole speech where it's not about revenge, and I think that's I don't know. I feel like the whole game was about revenge. The whole like her whole thing in the game was revenge. So I don't know what we're gonna be doing here. So there's probably gonna be some other villain, and her and Abby are gonna team up. That's probably what the end goal is going to be here for the series. It's not going to be the same as we're going to get in the game. I don't think so. I don't think that this season is going to be very much like the game. I think it's going to be very different now. Um, yeah, that's really just it. I'm still excited for it. I just was mostly excited for what was going to happen when Jill died. I was just more excited to see, people watching, seeing what was going to happen. I think it would be really funny. And yeah, things seem to be pretty good. I didn't necessarily see an article saying anyone got death threats, which would be crazy, crazy, because it's really stupid. People are so dumb. Last of Us, right? That's a video game show. We have been following Marvel for a while, and I'm just been waiting for Captain America to get onto Disney Plus. But in the meantime, I got a chance to watch Daredevil Born Again, and man, oh man, was that really good. And it was really good in the way that it was, a nice flow of everything. I think it had a nice amount of everything. I wish it maybe did have more. I'll say it Punisher. I think Punisher maybe could have had like maybe a more of a team up episode rather than like a meet and greet and then a cameo at the final like the finale of it. And then I'll say it. What the fuck with the other characters? What the fuck with Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage? What the fuck? Where? Why? Why not? Where? I mean, you're gonna do this White Tiger nonsense. You're just gonna have the dude from Miss Marvel's dad be the banker here. He's gonna have him, but you're not even gonna bother getting these other people. I call bullshit. So like waiting this long, I if I had to rate it, bro, I think that the overall story was really good. I think that the action was relatively decent. You don't really see a lot of it. I don't think Daredevil gets in a lot of fights. There's actually more Murdoch than Daredevil, I think. They had a new villain just kind of to be like the bridge gap, I guess, between Daredevil coming back and then Fisk being mayor now and causing Vigilante to like be like arrested. That's kind of what it goes because this guy is not a vigilante; he's just a serial killer. It's Muse. Muse is the new serial like he's a serial killer villain for Daredevil. I don't know. I never read the comics for Muse, but I think now I will because I feel like Muse didn't really get good time to shine because he didn't really get like a good repertoire with Daredevil. It just kind of felt like, oh, Muse is just here to bridge Daredevil coming back and Fisk still being in power, and now it's like, oh, it's still them, those two now. It's not him and Muse. It like Daredevil didn't even focus on Muse until the very end. It wasn't even. I don't know. I didn't necessarily super enjoy it. That Muse was like part of the overall advertising for the show, but it wasn't even used in the show, like in the overall plot initially. He's part of a side plot initially. He's just a side plot, and I hate that. Pretty sad that Foggy's character probably didn't want to be in the show, and they had to write him off for whatever reason. I don't know why they didn't do like some snapshot, but whatever. We don't make the decisions for their stupid shows. I don't know. Maybe Captain America will be it. Probably Red Hulk might be the last thing holding me on here because Fantastic Four I don't really care about. Nothing else I really care about. I think like the DC stuff is done. Like the superhero movies are just not really that interesting anymore. They don't have the interconnected kind of fun cameo kind of world style that we're all here for. I feel like it's more like character of the moment episode kind of stuff. It's like like even Daredevil, what with White Tiger, we don't even see anything about White Tiger like that's relevant to anything for White Tiger. Everything we hear about it is just relevant for the show. We see him get beat up, we see him be in trial, we find out things about from the trial, and then this character just I'm not even gonna say what happens, but like it's just like that's it's what it is. It is what it is, and I feel like we should have had time with White Tiger. White Tiger should have had an episode. White Tiger maybe should have just had something else. It just feels like so throwaway. Right, because he has like this amulet, this magic amulet. They don't even like go into that. Daredevil doesn't like investigate. Oh man, it's just so sad. I feel like the comics would maybe indulge into that kind of, you know, fun world building kind of stuff. But no, I guess not. The TV show, to in my eyes, definitely didn't hit home. And that's pretty sad. I think that's pretty sad. But from start to finish, it's overall like a decent watch. It's just like thinking about the evolution and where Marvel like should be, but they're not doing it. It's just really sad because this is not where I expected Daredevil to be 10 years later in what is now considered the MCU. It's like there's not even like a real tease or interconnected stuff. Like it's just he doesn't even like. Anyway, they're probably not going to have these show characters in any of the future movies like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. They're probably never going to do that, which is going to be pretty sad. I mean, she was in the Marvels, but who could say? And yeah, that mostly really does it for the episode. Hopefully, there's going to be more gaming news to talk about between now and next week. Gonna try and snag a Switch 2 between now and the inevitable release. Maybe the scalper situation is pretty horrendous. And until then, I hope you all stay safe. Peace.